the Kirchner Caverns, and that was a bust, because now they charge you just to get in the gate, in addition to paying for the tours. And if you use their campgrounds, that's $50 a night, plus another $5 for fees. And you can't park in the upper lot unless the campground is full. And I didn't even ask what they charge for that anymore. It's just getting so you gotta be filthy rich to go anywhere, even in an RV. So we're down here now in Tombstone at a Harvest Host, and it's turned out for the better. Well, I'm gonna go up here and take a walking tour of downtown Tombstone, stick my head in a few bars and go window shopping. So let's see what there is. Here's the Cochise County Tombstone Courthouse, built in the 1800s. Here's something interesting called a cannonball safe. Look on the placard here. It says, "What exactly is this thing? Take a wild guess and then watch the short video for the answer, including images of what the inside looks like." This object here on the side of the safe is a mine shaft elevator. That's what you went up and down the mines here. Now let's see if we can go inside the courthouse and look around. This one's about Tombstone's beginnings. Tombstone began its growth with the silver strike of 1877. By 1879, the camp had developed into a bustling, wealthy community. This room here covers all the activity in Tombstone that kept people entertained. Good, wholesome fun. Got rowdy amusements. And it says here that a man will go to the devil pretty fast in Tombstone. Fargo, whiskey, and bad women will beat anyone. And over here we have stage and theater, as in all old mining towns. And of course they had entertainment. Phonographs, pianos, organs. Here's an old gambling table with some information telling you about the favorite games of the Old West. Well, that's the first floor. Now let's go up to the second floor. These are some dresses of the women of the 1800s. Hard to believe women were that small once. Seems like in the Old West, everybody had multiple jobs. Andrew J. Ritter was the courthouse builder, the county treasurer, and the local undertaker. And people complain about having 3 jobs now. Here's Tombstone's graduating class of 1911. Just 7 students. The Chinese made up a large population of the western towns. Huang Qi was a well-known member of Tombstone's Chinese community. Born in Hong Kong, China, he immigrated to America and became a cook's helper in the boom town of Virginia City, Montana. By 1870, he was able to move into the Arizona Territory and open his own restaurant. After operating public eating places in Pierce and Charleston, he finally settled in Tombstone and purchased the Can restaurant. This is about Cochise on October 1st, 1872. They met in the mountains at Cochise Stronghold to work out a peace negotiation. While there is no known photo or portrait of Cochise, Some believed he looked remarkably close to his son. Natchez. This room is dedicated to all the cattlemen in the Tombstone area. Rope 'em and ride 'em. All the different variations of barbed wire used across the Wild West. And these are some of the branding irons the different groups used to mark their cattle. This is the upstairs courtroom where the plaintiffs came in to plead their case. Original history and historical documents written in cursive are beyond many of the youth today who can't even read. Well, that sums up the tour of the courthouse here, and now it's time to go downtown Tombstone. Here's the office of the world-famous Tombstone Epitaph here in Tombstone. Let's take a walk inside and see what there is. Look back on history. This is the Tombstone Epitaph newspaper with the original printing presses, letterbox and everything to publish the Tombstone Epitaph. I remember there being a black and white 50s TV series by the same name, having to do with everything happening in Tombstone. Some of the articles. A town too tough to die, and it's still kicking. Bar at Big Nose Kate's Tavern here in Tombstone, Arizona. Kind of circle around here. Quite the place, very colorful. This is another part that you can tour when it's open. And more in the rear here. A diorama representation where they tell the story of the Tombstone area. This is a gift shop where you buy tickets to the OK Corral gunfight. This is attached to the room here that has the diorama in it. So let's continue our walk through town. Just walking through downtown Tombstone, Arizona, sticking my head in the bars, looking at things. It's a very quiet town. Hardly anybody seems to be here. This is a place I've been to before. I think it's one of the best examples of the history of Tombstone there is. It's an old theater, and then on the second floor there's a gambler's nest where they'd have long gambling poker games, and down below is also the rooms of the soiled doves, as they call them back then. The girls would come up to the theater, pick a gentleman, take them downstairs to their rooms, and enjoy their company. It's quite an interesting place. Here, if you read this, you'll get an idea of what went on in this building. A lot of fun and frolicking and gambling. This is where you start your tour. You pay, you go into the theater that's through the wall there. It is quite the place. I think it was well worth the fee to get in and just go over all the history. Here's the big Christmas tree in the center of the town. You can see that white globe is the full moon. Here's the town park, but the rest of the town is pretty much dead except for the Christmas tree in the far intersection up there. And this is Tombstone in the evening, decorated for Christmas. Got up, walked all through the town, went to some places I hadn't been before, and was really pleased with the exhibits I saw this time that I hadn't seen before. Dogs are doing great. Spirit chewed through 2 leashes, and another leash, a cord leash I had, totally came apart, literally strand by strand. So I gotta find me a dog supply place, pet shop, to buy 2 new leashes. They're doing with the hand 6-foot tools I've bought, so I got backups. Anyway, went to town tonight here after sunset and the full moon up, and only a few places are decorated for Christmas. Mostly the bars and restaurants. Everything else is, like you'd expect in the 1800s, dark. Dark streets. You hear footprints behind you, and you can't quite see. The moonlight's not that bright, and it'd be like, it must have been kind of scary back in the 1800s walking around these towns. Anyway, tomorrow we're off again. Plans are to go down to Bisbee and stay there for a day or two. Tour that town and tour Low, which is just below Bisbee, and it's like something out of the Twilight Zone, where everybody that lived in that town just left, and everything's still there. So that's always interesting. And we went to Kirchner Caverns on the way here. We had planned to stay at Kirchner Caverns and go on the tour, but in the past year and a half, 2 years, it has gotten exceedingly expensive. Now they charge you $10 just to come in to the parking lot. Plus you got to pay for the tours, and then if you want to go camping, it's $50 a night at their campgrounds, plus $5 more for, I guess, registration fees. And you can't park in the back upper parking lot like you used to until the campsite is full. And I didn't ask how much they charge just for camping overnight in the parking lot. I was afraid to. So, word to the wise. If you can, get the hell out of your house, out of town, out of state, and start seeing things. Because, my God, the way they're jacking prices up, only the rich are going to be able to travel. and we'll all be left living in our RVs out in the dirt. So, like the girls and I always say, we wish you happy trails and woof woof. We're off again tomorrow. Enjoy.